You are listening to the Marc Guzman podcast experience.
Okay, next one is a hot topic, big debate among so many people. Bay Area life is changing, and there's a lot of discussions, political battles, protests, things going on, not just in the Bay Area, but also California and many other parts of the nation. But we're essentially experiencing a housing crisis, right? And you guys have, if you've watched several of these episodes, you've heard about us talking about the solution to the housing market. So we're going to jump a little bit deeper into this and kind of explain to people a little bit more in detail why we believe some of the things we believe. But the one thing I do want to point out, and I get this question all the time, why is Bay Area pricing so expensive, right? And it's because you have little supply and very high demand. But why is the demand so high? I'll tell you right now. Did you know in 2019, January and February, the Bay Area created 81% of the jobs in California?
Oh, I didn't realize it was that high, 81%.
Shockingly high. 81% of the jobs were created in the Bay Area of the overall jobs in California. In March, it was 48% of the jobs. Wow. So when you have that kind of, I'm curious to see what April comes out to, but when you have that kind of data, when you have that level of job creation in the Bay Area, guess what? People are naturally going to come to the Bay Area to take those jobs. Now, if you look at Bay Area domestic migration, the funny thing though is you see people moving out. People domestically are moving out of the Bay Area. So who's taking all these extra jobs? And it's people moving in from different countries.
Different countries, different states.
Yeah, well, no, not from different states, because domestic migration is on the negative.
We've been importing
so
plumbers and electricians from other states to work in our construction industry, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that between Silicon Valley and San Francisco, two giant global hubs that are so close together, you're going to have a lot of foreigners wanting to come here. Right now, the Bay Area is 35% foreign-born people.
I mean, it's really more than that. I mean, in a nutshell, it's an amazing place to live, right? I own properties in various different states, large apartment buildings, and so I've had the opportunity to see what it's like in other states. You know, it's cool, but I mean, the Bay Area does have something unique, right down from the weather, the cheese, the milk. But really, the weather plays a big component. It's a pleasant place to physically live, great views of the water, and it happens to be a great place for intellectual hub and employment hub. Like many, as Marc pointed out very eloquently, there's a ton of jobs here, and more job opportunities do come in and grow, right?
And people take up those jobs.
They do.
I mean, on a national level, we're at a 3.6% unemployment rate,
no,
the lowest in 49 years.
That really shocked me. Yeah, I had to actually. I was watching the news, and Marc pointed out that the national unemployment rate is 3.6. Now, to put things in perspective,
but San Francisco, 2.2%.
Right. So whenever you're at 4% unemployment rate, that means most of the people are working, and that's the little 4% are usually people who are unable to work or are in between jobs. Whenever you go below that number, what happens is employers are looking for employees, which is why, like, for example, if you go to certain places like Facebook campus or Google campus in the Bay Area, and you look at the way that people are working, I was shocked. I was like, it doesn't look like work. I mean, I can't believe, like, they have on-site dental, they got on-site massages, they got on-site oil changes, and it's just, we can go on and on about those working environments. It's a pleasant place to work, right? And those were numbers you traditionally see in the Bay Area, but now it's in the entire country. So that means the majority of the country is working. And as Marc pointed out, when you're below like 2.2 unemployment rate, that means that employers are actively pulling employees out of areas to come to work at their site.
And as employers, you have to offer more money to keep your good employees. And we've noticed, or in fact, just to keep employees, because there's so many jobs.
Right.
And we've noticed every single year, 2 or 3% increase in Bay Area salaries.
Right. And now, again, this is a huge distinguishing factor from zombie companies, which in the CV world they call the Walking Dead. Again, these are companies that are just breaking even. They haven't really popped yet. And so the numbers aren't there. When companies have to bring in jobs or are actively searching for employees, companies like Facebook or Google or some of the other tech companies here, those companies are so profitable that even after they've exhausted tax credits, not tax write-offs, but actual tax credits, that once they've resolved how much tax they owe, they get to take the tax credit and apply it to that dollar amount, that they have to go out and pay employees to come in, sometimes if nothing more than to capture an employee from another company, pay them so that that other competitive company can't have them. Then you realize that those companies are generating so much revenue that they're creating, generating so much revenue that you don't know what to do with your money. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. So essentially, people want to live in the Bay Area, and that's why there's just not enough housing, which this is a perfect transition into our final topic and what we want to talk about, and it's NIMBYism.